Happy Saturday, guys. Welcome to another edition of FilmSpeak Live. Usually on Saturdays, well, actually, before we get into this, if this is your first time checking out the channel, hey, my name is Griffin Schiller. I'm an LA-based entertainment journalist and film critic, and here at FilmSpeak, we like to say that the conversation continues after the credits. So if you want to be a part of that conversation, and this show is definitely an extension of that, you're definitely in the right place. Consider subscribing to the channel for more insight, analysis, and interviews behind your favorite movies. So, as I was saying, these Saturday Q&As, they're live streams. We like to hang out with you guys, take your questions and whatnot. And for, going forward from here, that will always be the case. However, today I wanted to test something out. For those of you who didn't catch my live stream the other day, we are basically going to be starting a live news show that we do throughout the course of the week. It'll be every other day, and it'll be very similar to the FilmSpeak live Q&As that we do today, or that we do on Saturdays. But we'll cover news, we'll take your live questions, and then you also can have an opportunity to participate in the show. We did just launch a Patreon, and I believe at the $10 tier, or maybe the $5 tier, if you sign up to be a part of that, you can submit the topics in the news stories that you want us to cover on the show. So if something like that interests you, consider heading over to the Patreon and joining one of the tiers there. But for today, I just compiled a bunch of news topics and stuff that I was really interested in talking about. And then, of course, taking your live questions. So feel free to start sending them in, start sending in your thoughts on everything that we talked about. Before we get started, though, on all of that, I am joined by two amazing guests that you've both seen here before. First and foremost, Mr. Tyler Tompkins. Tyler, thank you for joining me. How are you doing this Saturday morning?
Good. What's going on? I don't know if everyone could hear there's a classic movie playing in my living room, man. Classic movies are so loud. They're just so loud, like with the music and everything.
Yeah, but there's something nice about that.
There is, it makes me feel good.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, this is just cinema. Oh, yeah. God, love it.
Yeah. happy to be here. Excited to be talking about movie news and movie stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And you and I are going to touch on Possessor a little bit later on during the show. So if just to give you guys a little bit of a tease, we are going to be reviewing Possessor now that the first trailer has dropped, and we've both seen the film like a while ago. So we're going to be digging into that, and that should be great. And then of course, we have to bring him up, the man of the hour, Mr. Chris, 3C Film Reviews. Thank you so much for joining me.
No, I'm not the man of the hour. I don't even get to see these cool movies you guys get to, so I can't wait to the part of the show where I sit back and I stare at y'all talk about a great movie. It's the way it goes. But you know what you did? You actually got to do was you got to interview the director of The Butterfly Effect. Thanks to you, though. So that's not even me.
But it is you. It was all you. And I wanted to plug that because I'm going to be uploading the full interview of that either like today or tomorrow. But you actually got like a really cool little tidbit when he was talking about his interpretation of the ending of that film. So I don't know if you want to share that, but.
No, yeah, if you guys haven't seen The Butterfly Effect, it's one of my favorites. I don't know, can we categorize it as a guilty pleasure, or we agree that it's a good movie?
I love that movie. It's one of my favorites, too.
I think it's a cult classic.
Yeah, okay, cult classic, yeah, and with Ashton Kutcher. And it's famous for having multiple endings, 2 happy endings and 1 really weird sad ending. And, his director's cut has a sad ending where baby killing itself in the womb. And so I wanted to ask him, it's like, do you still stand by that? How do you feel? Do you wish they would have kept that as the theatrical release? And, surprisingly enough, the guy was honest and said, I've grown a lot and the world's dark enough. Happy ending's good enough for me.
Well, it's cool to hear because it's like out of all the endings, I actually wasn't really a huge fan of the director's cut ending, the one with the baby killing him. And
just came off a little comedic to me.
Yeah, it was, and then it was also like it was a really like mean spirited and dark movie to begin with. And so when you tack that on to the end, it's just like there's no hope. I don't like this is awful. The guy lived a meaningless. Well, he didn't live a meaningless life, but So yeah, my 2 favorite endings were always the him just like kind of running into her in the street, and then the one where they went to go get coffee, I believe is it, Tyler?
Yeah, I remember one. Yeah, there's also one like when he goes back in time to Kaylee's birthday party, like when they're all like 6 and 7, and he just doesn't go up and talk to her or something like that.
Oh, okay,
yeah, I like the theatrical ending the most as well.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So let's get into this thing, guys. We're starting off with some news stories. The first topic that we're going to talk about is something that dropped yesterday. I think we're all, I mean, I can't speak for you all, but I know at least for me, I am super pumped about this. So Netflix's The Gray Man, starring Chris Evans and Ryan Gosling, directed by the Russo brothers. So basically, Joe Russo is adapting Mark Greeny's 2009 novel with an assist from Avengers screenwriters Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely. Netflix has committed to a budget of like around $200 million or more, and their hopes are to launch like a new franchise boasting a quote-unquote James Bond level of scale. So for those of you who aren't familiar with The Gray Man, it follows a former CIA operative turned freelance assassin named Court Gentry, or Gentry, I don't know, who is also known as The Gray Man. Gosling will play that character who is hunted across the globe by his former CIA cohort, Lloyd Hansen. So before we get any like further into this story, I want to get you guys' take on it, because this is like, I don't know, for me, the genre is right up my alley. Hearing that they want to take it to like a James Bond level of action is right up my alley. Gosling and Evans, amazing, especially because they're looking to span this into a franchise, and it looks like Gosling is going to be the mainstay. Whether or not Evans returns remains to be seen. But Tyler, starting with you, what are your thoughts on this film, and are you excited for it?
Yeah, what gets me excited for this is definitely, the Russo brothers directing, but more so the cast. I like Chris Evans returning to, once again with the Russo brothers. And Ryan Gosling, getting him, that's very interesting. That makes me think that this project is going to be something pretty special, because I feel like Gosling wouldn't sign on for something like this if it wasn't good. And the fact that Netflix is willing to dish out, like $200 million for this movie.
That's nuts.
Clearly, they have they think it's probably a good idea. I will say, though, I'm kind of like, Netflix's action movies, they're starting to kind of scare me, because when you go to a bookstore and you just see like a long line of just action books that all look exactly the same. I'm scared Netflix movies are going to be like that soon, where it's just like everything feels the same, it's just a little generic. But I don't think that'll be the case with this one, just because of the team behind it. But I hope they start to switch it up just a little bit. Because like The Gray Man, the actual plot and concept of the story doesn't really excite me, because it sounds like every other action movie.
Right, but it's like what they can bring to the table and how they can kind of like make it in. No, I agree. I will say the thought of like Gosling going up against Evans, or Evans kind of like chasing down Gosling, that's the part of the premise that really like interests me. But Chris, what are your thoughts on this?
No, yeah, I'm similar boat as you guys. This sounds very exciting. It's just like the underlying details in this project that makes it seem a little off. Like with Netflix, so much money, and it's like I still don't even understand how they recuperate from a project that huge, and even more in the time of a pandemic, when I thought the direction in Hollywood was going to be more towards like making Invisible Man movies, where it's low budget, hoping for a higher return or just a safer net profit. But Netflix doing this is pretty cool. Also with the Russo brothers company that they do, a lot of the movies they've made have not landed well with me. They're iffy, but a lot of that could be because they didn't direct it themselves. Like we still have to see how Cherry turns out with Tom Holland. I do like how they're just grabbing people from the MCU, and it's like, all right, we're going to make you into a movie. We're going to make you into a movie. So when Cherry comes out, it'll let me know whether to be more excited or less excited for this.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that, I mean, I trust the Russo brothers enough, and especially like Joe Russo gave a quote that was saying, where was it? He was talking about, for those who were fans of Captain America: The Winter Soldier, this is us moving into that territory in more of a real world setting. That's what this movie really means for us. So the fact that they're saying, okay, you liked The Winter Soldier, you wanted more of that, this is going to give you more of that, and Chris Evans is in the movie, it's like that, okay, this is like the proper sequel to Winter Soldier that we've all wanted. But I agree with you. I think it's really ambitious to dump that amount of money into like a project like this, but I guess when you have Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans and the directors of Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War and all that stuff, like it makes sense that they would green light this, especially after Extraction, which is an Agbo film, like is the highest viewed film on Netflix. Like Netflix just released that top 10 movies on on their platform chart, and Extraction is number 1 on it. And I was just kind of like, wow, all right. I guess like the interest was there. People like the name recognition of the Russos and the name recognition of Chris Hemsworth, the fact that it's an action movie. You kind of apply the same sort of marketing tactics to this. I think like it could be successful, you know?
Yeah, and Netflix is weird because I mean, you guys have probably seen that list of the 10 top movies that Netflix says is their most viewed. And I look at that list and I think 8 of those movies, if they went to theaters, would have bombed. I don't think they would have.
That's so true. Yeah.
And Netflix is like a perfect home for those, for people who are like, I recognize this star. I got nothing else to do. It's basically free for me because no one really pays attention to paying $8 a month. So it's crazy, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Well, and then I guess the other question, MBR here asking, do you guys think it'll be rated R? I don't know.
I don't see why not. I mean, it's Netflix. Does it really bother them? A rating?
I mean, it probably doesn't bother them, but I don't think that it automatically calls for that, you know?
Yeah, because my mind went to, I was wondering if they would go like full hard R, if they would go kind of like a Jason Bourne route where, you know, it's like hard PG-13, and I don't know. I hope it's rated R.
Yeah, well, this project's kind of reminded me of 6 Underground, because when that was coming up, that was being marketed as their most expensive movie, their biggest stars, Michael Bay, and I think that's a rated R movie.
Yeah, that's their number 3. That's like the 3rd most viewed film I think on the platform, is something like that. It's like Extraction, Bird Box, which that's still Bird Box is a perfect example of a film that would never have made the impact that it did if it wasn't on Netflix. So yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited for the project, though, just given the premise and the people involved. So I really am. I can't wait to see what they have cooked up for us. But guys, let us know down in the comments section. What do you think of The Gray Man? Are you excited for it? Are you looking forward to see Ryan Gosling go up against Chris Evans? The Russo brothers return to a Winter Soldier type film. We want to hear about it down in the comments section below, or in the chat if you're watching us live. Okay. Moving on to the next topic. Well, actually, before we move on to the next topic, I do want to address a super chat that we got here from Marshall Boy. So thank you so much for sending in the super chat, man. Really appreciate that. He's saying, hello, Chris. Halloween Kills getting delayed sucks. Now I know how Griffin felt when No Time to Die was delayed. I'm in Spain, but the S is silent. Listen.
I'm gonna steal that.
Yeah, right. Listen, no time to die might be getting delayed again, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. But Chris, I'm going to kind of get your thoughts on Halloween Kills getting delayed real quick.
Yeah, I mean, it's a punch to the gut for sure, and a lot of this had to do because I think a movie or studios want at least a 3-month window to market their movie, to shill out trailers, posters, little things out there to spread enough knowledge out there that this movie's coming out, and that window was just running shorter and shorter. So it's like, we got to move it to next year. And the fact that they did move it a whole year to land in theaters is actually a really good sign for the movie, because if this film wasn't as good as they thought it was, and they thought they were going to get bad reviews or people were going to poo-poo on it, they were like, just dump it on VOD and let's just honestly, they still could make a profit if they dumped it on VOD, but the potential with it being good is much higher if they take it to theater. So I am bummed, but it's actually a good sign.
Yeah, I was just thinking about like how much money Halloween 2018 made back when that first came out. And I was just like, well,
opening
of course,
weekend of $80 million. Like, what?
Yeah, like there's no way this film is not hitting theaters. But Tyler, real quick before we move on to Hayden Christensen returning to Star Wars, what are your thoughts on Halloween Kills getting delayed?
Yeah, I mean, if they are going to delay it, I think Chris and I were talking about this a little earlier before we started. They have to. It has to come out in October. Like, it would just feel weird for a Halloween movie to come out like in March or like April.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with it, but I am excited to see it.
Yeah,
I'm sad it got delayed.
I am too, man. I was really looking forward to it, but I can't say I'm surprised. And I think we'll talk about this when we get to the No Time to Die delay, but I think that most of I don't think we're going to see movies for like the rest of the year, to be honest. If things are supposed to get even worse, which is what this is all indicating to, I'd be surprised if we got any more. But okay, the main topic of conversation here, Hayden Christensen returning as Anakin or Darth Vader in the Disney Plus Obi-Wan series. So let's just kind of preface this by saying this is a rumor. This is not confirmed. Obviously, the Hayden Christensen rumor has been going around since before, The Rise of Skywalker came out. Everyone was like, oh, he's going to be in that. He's going to have a secret role in that. And I don't know, maybe he shot stuff and it was just, it'll never see the light of day, but he wasn't really in that. He just had a little small voiceover part. But in January, obviously, it was announced that the Obi-Wan Kenobi series was on hold indefinitely due to some major script revisions. And that's sort of like the latest we've heard on that project. I assume that they're, still working hard on making that happen with Deborah Chow, who's heading that series. And so after that, there was some, major script revisions, and they're still going on. And now, according to LRM online, a new casting deal has gone down behind the scenes, which is Hayden Christensen supposedly reprising his role of Anakin Skywalker for the series. So the LRM states that they can safely say that Hayden Christensen will be reprising his role as Anakin Skywalker for the upcoming Disney Plus Kenobi series. It's not an implausible notion when you think about it. The show is planned to take place in between the prequels and the original trilogy, when Anakin is Darth Vader, but through the use of dream sequences or perhaps even flashbacks, Anakin could definitely continue to be a part of Obi-Wan's journey. And I do want to emphasize this, that LRM specifically labels Anakin Skywalker's role as, they label this as a top shelf rumor, and then they also say that his role is going to be a regular in the series, which is where this gets really interesting, because it's like, well, how big of a role is Hayden Christensen going to have in this series that's focused on Obi-Wan? Are him and Vader going to have like a bunch of epic duels that we just don't know about? So I don't know. A lot of questions sort of come to mind when just like hearing this. But Chris, going to you first, what do you make of this? Do you buy any of it? And if so, do you think we're going to get more Vader or more like, Hayden Christensen without the mask on, Anakin Skywalker type stuff?
Before The Mandalorian, I would have said I don't buy it, but then seeing them put a baby Yoda, which is, a pretty big character, and I think is a lot of the reason that show took off, when that came out. I think it is real, but the idea and how they're planning to use it, dream sequences and flashbacks, I don't know about you guys, that's like my biggest pet peeve in a lot of like movies and shows. Like I talked to our buddy Zach Pope on Twitter. I compared it to like all of season 2 of 13 Reasons Why, where Hannah Baker was just an imagination of clay. And then someone got mad. It's like, don't you ever compare Star Wars 13? And I'm like, I just can't think of another instance where that happened other than like Fight Club. But that's like part of the twist and what makes that movie amazing. So I don't know how I would feel about it if it's just a haunting Obi-Wan throughout the show. I would rather, I don't know, him pop up somehow. But I'm all up for it. I love Hayden Christensen, and I think he needs more time to shine. He's got a bad rap from the prequels, but he's gotten around to being loved again. So it would be great to see him again.
Yeah, I mean, I love the guy despite everything that's happened, and I kind of feel bad for him. But Tyler, what do you kind of make of all this?
No, yeah, I love the idea, and I would love to see him come back in the Obi-Wan series. I just don't really know how you would I don't know how you would do it. I mean, like I like Chris, I don't really like the idea of bringing him back through like dreams and flashback sequences. I'd want him to be like a main character, like just present. I just don't know how you would do it. But if they could figure out a cool way to do it, I'm all for it. Because I love Hayden Christensen, and I loved Obi-Wan and Anakin's chemistry in the prequels, so that'd be a lot of fun.
I guess the thing that sort of excites me about this whole prospect, rumor, whatever, is that getting to see Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor on screen again together in some capacity, again, whether it's like sort of flashbacks or it's like Obi-Wan being haunted by the memory of his failures, which honestly, that to me sounds like it could be something interesting, because obviously when he goes into hiding, he's at a very like distraught place. He's completely failed. His best friend is like burned half alive, has lost limbs, and is like 2 steps away from being dead, and then becomes the most infamous killer in the galaxy. The other thing, before I move on to the other thing, so like Obi-Wan having to sort of live with that's an interesting character exploration. It makes sense during that time period. The other thing that excites me about this is that, if Hayden comes in, maybe there's like an episode or two where there's a good chunk of it devoted to like his character, Vader in his prime, like how ruthless he is, coming off of the heels of Revenge of the Sith and everything. And so like him, hunting, the remaining Jedi across the galaxy, or like, just like trying, like going around and imposing Imperial law on people, like that could be interesting. And then also maybe getting some more like quiet and more intimate moments with Hayden, with Vader, with the mask off, and then just seeing him contemplate like everything he's done in his life. Because we all know that Anakin is a very conflicted individual. It's like he's got both the light and the dark in him, but the dark just sort of was pushed to the forefront. So it's like, maybe if we got some moments where there's, he's sort of questioning what's going on. I don't know. That could be interesting. And then also maybe tying it into Rebels in some capacity. I have no idea. The thing that does worry me is that I'm afraid that with Hayden getting in here, if he's being pitched as a regular on the series, I'm afraid that it'll take away from Obi-Wan and the fact that people have wanted a Obi-Wan specific series, not necessarily a Hayden Christensen, Anakin, Darth Vader series in this time period. I mean, as cool as that would be, we got his story. He was the main character in the prequels. And so like, we want to see the Obi-Wan series. That's what we've been clamoring for. So I don't want them to get distracted in that regard. How do you guys sort of feel about that?
Yeah, no, I agree. And I still think that Disney has no idea what they're doing with Star Wars. I still really don't think they have any like set plan. You know what I mean? It still feels like they're experimenting and kind of like, show like, hey, you like this? And people are like, yeah. So they just kind of, I don't know. It's just, they need like a better outline. And even with like the Bad Batch being announced, I'm sure y'all were probably excited for that. But like, it just kind of felt out of, I don't know. It just feels like there's no set plan. It still feels like everything's just kind of random. So I don't know. I hope they get a better grasp on the series because there's so much potential.
Yeah, for sure. Chris, how do you sort of feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you if it would take away from Obi-Wan, and as a series regular, like how often is he popping up and what is he doing? Again, I talk about it being a cliche or what, but like if it's really just a haunting or feeling guilty, that's going to get tired really fast. So
yeah,
I hope it's something more than just like a ghost figure.
Yeah, I definitely agree because it's like you can like that's cool for a couple of episodes, but then like if that's the extent of it, then well, I don't know. Yeah, I agree. I would get tired of that really quickly. Kieran Grudging's here asking, what's your opinion about Star Wars: The Bad Batch? Just bringing this up because Tyler, you did mention that briefly. Love the content. Keep it up. Well, thanks, man. Really appreciate that. So I guess Tyler, you are not a fan of The Bad Batch sort of announcement, or you're kind of indifferent towards it, right?
I'm just kind of lukewarm. I feel like I'm lukewarm for any of their show or anything that they announce now, just because I'm so nervous that it's not going to be good. I just feel like they don't really know what they're doing. But who's the main creator behind the Bad Batch?
I mean, Dave Filoni. Like,
if it's Filoni, then it's probably pretty solid. Because
from
what I've heard, he's like the bomb. I haven't seen it like any of the animated shows, so
for sure. And then Chris, you were pretty excited for it.
Oh yeah. Definitely excited for it. Same sentiment.
Yeah. I mean, I was kind of like, I'm excited for it because I actually really enjoyed the clone-centric episodes of the Clone Wars, but it also does feel like a little bit of a retread of what they did in Clone Wars. So I don't know. They have to do something to sort of differentiate what's going on there. But anyways, I think that's enough Star Wars for right now, guys. Again, let us know down in the comment section. What do you buy Hayden Christensen returning to Star Wars? Do you buy the fact that he's going to be in the Obi-Wan series? We want to hear about it down in the comment section below. All right, so moving on to the next topic. This one's really brief. It's just a bunch of delays. So it's basically Falcon and Winter Soldier is not going to hit Disney Plus this August. WandaVision is moving back to spring 2021. Yeah. And I believe Hawkeye got like some new writers and like a couple of directors for their series. So there's a little bit of headway moving on there. Any really big surprise here? I think we all kind of expected this, but Tyler.
Go ahead, Tyler.
Oh no, I mean, I just told I mean, like, I was really optimistic when this was all going on. I was like, no, like this is gonna come out, it's still gonna come out. But now I'm not surprised if anything's delayed anymore. I'm just like I'm just kind of like waiting for it, which sucks. But hopefully it stops soon.
Yeah, for sure, Chris.
Well, okay, so even if they had it all finished, do you think they still would have released it this year? I know it's on a streaming service, and the pandemic doesn't really affect that, but I have to believe that is a factor into it, that they would rather not release it in a time like this.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. The other question that sort of comes to mind, I think your video is a little frozen, by the way. The other thing that sort of comes to mind is like, did they want like do they care if Black Widow comes out before that? Here, let me just adjust this real quick. There we go. Do we care if does it matter if Black Widow comes out before Falcon or Winter Soldier? Do they need that to come out before Black Widow?
Which we talked about.
Order of things.
Yeah, we talked about that in one of the episodes. I think like a few months ago. Like Black Widow being delayed we were like, does that mean they're gonna have to delay some of the MCU shows? And I'm wondering if that's why too. Because from what I heard, Hamilton did pretty solid on Disney Plus. Like it.
Yeah, man, Hamilton was breaking all sorts of records.
I want to see it. Like, I'm very curious to see it, but I'm more interested to see if like it's because of the Black Widow move. What if there's something in there we have to see before we see? I completely agree. That's sort of where I'm at too. And in terms of WandaVision, I mean, obviously they want that show to come out after the other two. That's the one I'm most looking forward to, just because it seems like more ambitious, but. Again, that doesn't really, moving to spring 2021, it's probably not even finished yet. So who knows? Yeah.
Going back here to the chat though, because we do have a few people chiming in on like some of the Star Wars stuff. Guys, let us know your thoughts and opinions on the Marvel shows getting delayed. I don't think any of us really think it's much of a surprise, but still, do you think that they'll get delayed even more? Do you think the order of things is a big factor here? Feel free to chime in down there below. We got 3C back here. Sorry. Before I get your take on this, I do want to address the chat real quick. 402-1971 saying Tyler is so right. Disney, of course, doesn't have a plan. All you have to do is look at the last trilogy to know that Disney is going to screw it up once again. I do agree, but I also think that the Obi-Wan series is something that they have been taking their time with, and they're not going to do until it's right. So, like, I don't know. I feel like on TV they've been pretty solid. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of The Mandalorian, but like the final season of Clone Wars, exceptional, so good. Like it just solidified Clone Wars as one of the best series. Animated series of all time, and then also probably the best entity, like singular entity of Star Wars. It's so good. But also I agree with you. I think the sequel trilogy is not great. So I totally get that notion. But I don't know. What do you got? Well, I guess Tyler, you kind of feel that way, and then Chris, and then you kind of feel like they don't have much of a plan either.
Yeah, I don't think they did, especially with how they handled the ending conclusion of it. And I couldn't believe they screwed it up. Well, maybe not to the level of the prequels, because there's even some love for them coming back now. But just they didn't stick the landing, and then even that dumb rumor that going around that Disney's really gonna wipe the slate clean and ignore those. They're not gonna do that.
That's
at
not
all.
gonna happen. Actually, that was one of the. That was one of the questions. Tony Movie Chappie in here. Great to see you, man. Saying, Griffin, do you buy the rumor that Disney is going to erase the sequel trilogy of Star Wars? Absolutely not. That's bonkers. Who in their right mind would dump that much money into 3 films and then say, fuck it, didn't happen? Yeah. Like what? That's like
I would love it if they did that. That'd be so hilarious.
I would too. I think that would be amazing. But I also think that regardless of how the Rise of Skywalker turned, like they're never going to admit that they're wrong, that they failed in that regard. Even though we all know that they failed. But I don't.
And we'll see in like 10, 15 years, the kids who grew up on this new series it's going to be beloved all over again.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, LA Bruce Wayne in here. Great to see you, man. Thanks for joining the show. He's saying we get 1 or 2 decent superhero movies a year, so getting excited about anything like this doesn't happen with me. That's fair. I assume you're referring to the Marvel shows coming out. Yeah, I think that's totally fair, because I think that this next phase of Marvel content, movies and television, people are either like, oh, all right, cool, or they're like, what's really new and interesting here? So like, I 100% get that. I don't know, where do you guys kind of fall on that, Tyler?
Yeah, for like the newer stuff coming out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm not like super excited for really anything except Doctor Strange, because Sam Raimi's directing it. And I guess like the next Thor movie is kind of exciting to me. But I've told you many times, Endgame was such a perfect ending. I wish they would have just taken, like a 3 to 5 year break. That would never happen. Take a 5-year break.
Yeah. Seriously.
It would never happen. But like, I'm just in my mind, I'm like, how can they top what they just did? But I'm still going to be there opening night, super excited. It's all going to go out the window. But yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic for Phase 4.
Yeah, Chris.
Yeah, same here. That with the pandemic and just getting out of the rhythm of going to theaters, it's just kind of ruined my hype for all movies. And I think I'm going to be more like Tyler, that I'm not excited until the day of my screening or whatever, my showtime of the, that's when it really feels like, okay, cool, I get to see something new.
Yeah. And I guess that kind of goes with the series as well. I mean, WandaVision that's interesting just because that seems like them taking risks and taking big swings, but then like, Falcon and the Winter Soldier could be very interesting, could be a nice extension of the Winter Soldier, like the movie The Winter Soldier. But I don't know, it's like not something that I'm like jumping out of my chair for. Black Widow, obviously, I don't think a lot of people are really all that excited about. I'm kind of like on board just because of like the fact that it is like an espionage sort of like James Bond thrill, or not James Bond, Jason Bourne sort of like thriller. So like that excites me. But outside of that, it's like, well, her arc's kind of finished. So it's like, what more can you add to that? And I don't know. It'll be interesting, to say the least. So, okay, going into a few more questions here before we move back to the main topics. FilmStock asking, do you take Rotten Tomatoes / Metacritic or any online review scores into account before you see a movie? Does it heavily influence your mindset before seeing a film? Chris, I'll let you take this one first.
I'd like to be the big man and say, nah, it doesn't. I have my own opinion, but I'll tell you, if there's a movie I see on Netflix and I know nothing about it, first thing I'll do is check the Rotten Tomatoes score. And if it's lower than like 80, I really will be like, I'll catch it another time. So I hate to admit it, but I mean, not that my time is valuable, but time itself is valuable to invest, an hour in something that might not be all that great. I don't know. So I'd like to say it doesn't, but it really does.
Yeah, Tyler, how about you?
I'm a total Rotten Tomatoes whore. Like you remember, you remember Griffin. Like anytime an embargo lifts, I'm going straight to Rotten Tomatoes. Like I'm there refreshing. Like I want to say no, but I love that website so much. Now it doesn't necessarily determine what I do and don't see, because if I'm super excited for a movie and it has a low score, I'm still gonna go see it. Like I'm not gonna go watch it, but. Yeah, I'll definitely be, more like cautious. Okay, we'll see how this is. But yeah, I love Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah,
I like it as well. I try not to look at the scores and have my opinion influence before I go see the movie, because I don't want to go in expecting either something really great or expecting something really bad, and then like. Having that sort of like just in my head subconsciously while I'm watching the movie. Does it happen sometimes? Yeah, I mean, accidentally for sure. Like you're scrolling, you're like, oh, this movie's got like a 50 whatever on Rotten Tomatoes, and you're kind of like, oh wow, I thought that was going to be like in the 80s or something. So it's like, okay, so now I've tempered my expectations. I think it's a useful tool if you don't really care and you just want to go into like if I'm not reviewing a movie. And I just want to like kind of get a gauge on like whether it's worth my time. It's a great metric. But in terms of like how I approach, reviewing a film, I try not to look at it. And especially, and maybe this is just for me being having a little bit of privilege and whatnot, being a critic. Oftentimes I don't even get to look at the score before I publish my review, which is great. So I most of the time I'm just out there saying, all right, I'm feeling this about this. Let's read the room. What are you guys thinking after I've like sort of published my review? So I think that's sort of really fun, to sort of take into account.
That's why I love. That's why I love film festivals, man. Like you've been way more than me, but South by was so much fun because
I agree. Yeah, you have no idea.
When we saw Us, it was like we're the first people to see this movie. Like
yeah.
It's just like like there's no Rotten Tomatoes score to look at, no reviews, no Twitter, no one's seen it on Twitter. Like this is it. Like I get to kind of make up my own opinion here. That's a lot of fun. Like it's really cool.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and I think the other side to it is like, if you go to a festival and there is no Rotten Tomatoes score or whatever, it's like you can be that champion for that film. You can like push it on Twitter. You can push it on YouTube, on all sorts of social media and be like, hey guys, I know you've literally never heard of this film. I just saw it at South by Southwest, Toronto International Film Festival, and I cannot stop thinking about it. And so you've already like helped put that film on other people's radars. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting thing because I totally know people who they like to get a gauge and feel for the film before they go into it. Well, I guess a follow up to that would be: do you guys just look at the score, or do you look at some of the little snippets that are with like an individual critic's sort of rating?
It depends if I've seen the movie or not. Like, I guess since we're talking about before we see the movie, I'll just look at the score. Because if I go too deep into reading someone's opinion, I feel like it'll influence me, and that's all I'll think about while I'm actually watching the movie. So I'll just go as far as looking at the score and then seeing the movie, and then afterwards is when I'll dive into everyone else's opinions and see if they match with mine.
Yeah.
If it's a movie I'm like super excited for, like Joker, I was it was like most anticipated last year. I would definitely looked at the score, but I would scroll down to see like who all gave it a 5 out of 5, like a 4 out of 5. Wouldn't necessarily read the review, but I just to see like what the scores were. I wanted to see like what the average score was. But yeah, I do that for some movies.
Right. Well, and I guess that kind of ties, like, if there are like certain critics that and you understand, and you're like, you read their stuff all the time, that you totally go to them before movies. It's like just seeing their score can sometimes be enough. So it's an interesting sort of thing, Rotten Tomatoes and like looking at this stuff before determining to see a film. It's a really, it's a great question. I'm thankful for bringing that up. It's something that I don't necessarily think about, but it is like, I don't know. It's something that I think more people use to sort of get a feel on a movie. Like at least in our space, I think a lot of people use it to sort of get a feel on the film before going in. And 402-1971 actually piggybacking off of it and saying, I look at the scores, and if they are really low, I don't see it. So I'm assuming like in the teens and whatnot. Yeah, I totally get that. If it is rotten, I may still see it, and if I do, sometimes I'm pleasantly surprised. That's the other thing. It's like there are so many films that are rotten that we were just talking about the butterfly effect earlier on.
Dude,
that's like it's like a 28 or like a 30.
I think it's like a 30 or 20. Yeah, something like that. And I wanted to show my friend that movie, but he uses Rotten Tomatoes, and he looked it up and was like, I don't think we should watch this because it's like really low. So we never even watched it. I was like, crap, it sucks. I'm like,
sorry, not to cut you off.
No, you're good.
This interested me, and so like I always wanted to do a video on movies that Rotten Tomatoes hate. So I actually have like a list of ones, but I don't know if you guys will agree with me. These are just ones I do like, but Rotten Tomatoes hate it. So I'm just gonna read some.
I will probably agree with you.
Space Jam, Jurassic Park 3, Nacho Libre, Cat in the Hat, Step Brothers, Ace Ventura, the first Jumanji with Robin Williams. The first TMNT from 1990.
Yeah,
I can't believe Jumanji's rotten. Oh my gosh.
That's shocking. Gosh, yeah, I don't know. There's a few. Jurassic Park 3 I've never been a fan of, and I love Joe Johnston, but I hate that movie.
My second favorite.
Me too.
Oh gosh, guys.
And just the park, not including the world movies.
Oh man. Just the original trilogy. Yeah. Now that I you can definitely make a really good case for a lot of those on there.
I know Chris agrees with me. The Cat in the Hat is amazing. It's like
that's a weird movie,
we need
man.
Justice for the Cat.
I understand that one, but it's like, it's a classic.
It's so ahead of its time.
Yeah, for sure. And then before we move off this topic and move into some other movie news, Dennis S. saying, I think it's way better to have some critic who has very similar opinions as you and sticking to what he or she thinks than going with the general critic audience. That's that's probably the way to do it if you're going to do this. When people, tweet out their social reactions for a film, if you go and you're like, okay, this person sort of thought that about the film, I can sort of gauge whether or not if I'm going to feel very similar or not.
Yeah.
And then also, I think it's a good idea to follow critics that you don't agree with.
Exactly. I was about to say that.
Yeah, because sometimes they can point out things that you didn't even think about, or say they hated Joker or whatever. You can be like, oh, well, okay, maybe it could be something that I will enjoy. And so it's like I totally agree with that notion though of following critics over following the Rotten Tomatoes scores, because then you build sort of like a personal relationship with them, and then you get I don't know if you view film similarly, or you're just so on the opposite side of the spectrum that you're just like, oh gosh, I hate this, but I really got to hear what he or she has to say, just to see a different perspective or a different point of view. So I totally agree with that notion, for sure. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on to the next topic here for movie news, and we are going to be talking about trailers. So we got a few trailers earlier this week. We got the trailer for Possessor. We got the trailer for Project Power. Was there anything else that I was missing? There was
I don't think so.
Yeah, I know there was the new Mutants one, but I have that as a separate section, but I guess we can sort of talk about it with the trailers. But let's start with the Project Power trailer, the new Netflix film, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Jamie Foxx. I don't know if do you guys remember that movie Push with Chris Evans?
Yeah.
I got Push vibes from this trailer, but I don't know. I was still really intrigued by what it's going to be. It's one of those films that's it could go either really bad or it could actually be a bit of a surprise. But I don't know, Tyler, what did you think of the trailer overall for Project Power?
Yeah, I'd heard of it before because it was filmed in New Orleans, and I remember seeing people talking about it, Joseph Gordon-Levitt in New Orleans and everything. But dude, I was shocked at how much I dug that trailer. This movie looks awesome. I can't wait. It looks kind of it kind of reminded me of Limitless, a trashy version of Limitless in a way.
Yeah, I did, a little bit. I did get Limitless vibes.
Limitless vibes. Yeah. I love the casting. Jamie Foxx looks like he's going to be awesome, and it's good to see Joseph Gordon-Levitt kind of pop back up in a big movie like this. So, this is definitely something I'm going to watch the night it's released because it looks really good.
For sure. Yeah, I'm just JGL, dude, where have you been? And now he's coming out, and he's got 7500 that came out, which I haven't seen yet, but I've heard is
I forgot about that movie. Yeah, it's
not bad. And then he's got Project Power, and I'm like, okay, all right. So now we've got the streaming films coming out. When are we going to see your big return to the big screen? Your leading role. Yeah. Come on, man. I'm missing it. But Chris, what'd you think of that?
Like we talked about earlier about Netflix movies that we thought maybe would bomb at the box office if they got a chance. And this one, complete opposite. I think it would be a blockbuster. I think people would flock so hard to see this. And it's got a great cast, the premise, and just that shot with the bullet and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. That alone would have sold so many tickets. You have no idea. And, I hope it's good. It's kind of hard to gauge now because sometimes you'll get a decent movie on Netflix like Old Guard, or great movies like Irishman or Defy Blood. So Netflix is no longer just a dumping ground, So there's some potential there. So it is kind of hard to tell if this will be one of those potential ones or if it'll be good for their platform.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's funny that you bring up this being it would have been a hit at the theaters, because I agree with you if it's released at the right time. I think this is the perfect, if this movie were to hit theaters in August or September, this would be a big hit, because usually that's sort of a weird era. You reach the end of the summer, there's not really a whole lot of great movies coming out. September, I mean, a couple, for a couple of Septembers now, we've had the It movies, and those have been obviously great to see, and that's been the big sort of driving force of September. But now that those are gone, okay, there's a little bit of a void there. So I could see Project Power doing really well in theaters there, and whatnot. So yeah, I totally agree. And plus, it's got the star power. People love Jamie Foxx. People love JGL. The concept is interesting. Limitless has a big cult following, so it's you take that in. Plus, it's superhero sort of people, and it's I don't know. It's an interesting concept. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think it was a solid first trailer, and I think it's going to do gangbusters on Netflix. They are going to clean up with this.
The directors, right?
No, I don't.
It's Neve Schulman from Catfish, his brother, and Henry Juice.
God, really?
They're the guys who did like a lot of the Paranormal Activity movies, and that one called
yes, I did.
Nerve with Dave Franco, and it's kind of a similar
that does
vibe.
Have a similar vibe. Damn it!
I think it's gonna be pretty solid. You know,
I did not like Nerve, man.
I thought it was pretty good.
It was not good.
Right. They did Paranormal Activity 3. I remember seeing that headline.
That's a good one. That is good.
Yeah.
I like the first 3 Paranormal Activities, and the third one's good. So, but yeah, I don't know, guys. Let us know your thoughts and opinions. Are you looking forward to Project Power? Do you think this was a really solid first trailer? Is it going to be a great Netflix film? Before we close out on this portion of the trailer, do you guys think that it's going to crack the top 10 of Netflix films?
100%. Project Power.
Yeah,
to be top 5.
It has everything. It feels like action is what really sells home on Netflix, and that cast. I don't see how it wouldn't.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely going to crack the top 10. Maybe, again, agreeing with you, Tyler, maybe even top 5. Before we move on to our other trailer, 4021971 asks, or saying, I was just going to say the same thing about JGL. He's such a great guy and needs to be in more movies. Yeah, I completely agree. Well, he did take a little bit of a hiatus because he had a kid. Understanding the reasons why he wasn't in a lot of stuff, it made me respect him even more. So, all right, moving on to the next trailer, Possessor, which Tyler and I are going to talk about Possessor for a little bit after we talk about the trailer.
I'm going to take a dump.
I will say this is one of the best trailers like ever of all time. Like, because from watching that, you don't know anything about the movie. Like, it tells you nothing.
Had this trailer on repeat all day. I could not get the music, the way it was cut, the visuals. Wow. It was an expertly made trailer. But Chris, what are your thoughts on the Possessor trailer?
Same thing. It was I guess it's sort of a teaser, more to say. They really didn't give away a lot. I don't know what's going on. For one, the poster super intrigued me. What a great poster they have of that creepy face. I just want to know what that is about, what the context is. But this really sold me, and a lot of people who saw it at Sundance are raving about it. So I can't wait to finally see this thing.
Yeah, there's no way it doesn't get like I don't know how they're planning on releasing the movie, but like it's gonna be NC-17, like 100%. I don't know how they can
see. I don't
100%. It's so graphic.
I do want to talk to you about that because I'm not convinced. I think this can still pass with an R rating.
That is interesting.
Maybe it's just so like I love movies like because I think they call it like body horror or something like that.
Yeah, body horror. Yeah.
But I just like. I don't know, man. I wonder if they will get that R rating because it's like some of those scenes are just like, holy crap.
No, I agree with you. It's really graphic and it creeps under your skin, man.
And then there's some like full frontal nudity as well, right? Which I mean is common, but I think there is.
But there's like literally a scene where what's his name? Christopher Abbott is like watching a couple have sex, and it's like they basically pulled up like
I love this
porno.
Movie.
Yeah,
I love this movie. It's so good.
It's so good. Jackson Miller asking, when does this come out? It doesn't have a release date yet, but I'm anticipating like September or October. That's my guess because August is that's when they have She Dies Tomorrow coming out.
I can't wait for that.
I have a screener for it, man. I'm looking forward to watching it, but I just had to watch this Possessor, man. This is the one that I am like. This is Neon's like movie of the year. It's just so.
No,
good.
Yeah. To me, it's like I think it's in my top like 5 of the year for so far. I mean, I loved it.
Top 3 for me, but
it might be my top 3 too. I gotta go back and look.
Yeah, I mean it's just that good. And on that note, we are going to be talking about Possessor because Tyler and I have both seen the film. The trailer just came out, so we felt like it was an appropriate time to actually like give our full thoughts on it. So, Chris, we are going to say goodbye to you for just a few minutes, but we will. But stick around, come back.
Yeah,
you can take that dump if you really want. So let's dive into this thing. All right, Tyler. We're going to talk about Possessor. This is the new film from Neon. It's directed by Brandon Cronenberg, also written by Brandon Cronenberg, stars Andrea Rice-Burrow, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Sean Bean, and the incredible Christopher Abbott, who is someone you're going to definitely want to look out for, in the coming years. He's an incredible up-and-comer. And basically, I don't want to give too much away, but the simple basic premise of this film is that it follows an agent who works for a secretive organization that uses brain implant technology to inhabit other people's bodies, ultimately driving them to commit assassinations for high-paying clients. And if that interests you, why would it not?
A great concept, dude.
It is such a bonkers concept that the film delivers on. So, Tyler, I want to go to you first. What, just overall, when you watched this movie, what did you think? What were some of the highlights? Some of the things you didn't really jive with too much. Overall thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't know much going into it. I just knew Zach said it was awesome. Our friend Zach Pope, who saw it at Sundance, he was like, "You got to see this movie. Like, it's great. It's super graphic, super violent, great." I didn't know it was about assassins and brain implant technology. But yeah, dude, I was just blown away. Like I said, the concept alone was what sold me, but everything else was just kind of icing on the cake, man. Like the violence, Christopher Abbott, who I think should be he should be like an A-list actor right now. He's an incredible actor, gives a great performance. And it's kind of weird because Andrea Riseborough, who's also really good, plays Christopher Abbott in the movie.
That's the thing. Yeah.
It's kind of hard to say because everyone's so good in the movie. You're like, oh no, this is Christopher Abbott. It's not Andrea Riseborough acting through Christopher. You know what I mean? It's like, man, everyone's doing such a good job.
It's such a weird thing because it's like, you're right. You will be watching Christopher Abbott on screen, or you will be watching Andrea Riseborough on screen. And it's like, I'm still not sure who's performing right now because through the events of the film, they do become interlinked. And that's really the big exploration here is like the psyche of a human. Like the body that we live in is just a shell. And I think the violence in this film is important because it shows that the physical body is disposable. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like it's all about the internal, the brain and whatnot. And so when you're getting all this really graphic stuff, I think it's a really clever way of sort of exploring that. And listen, this is something that has definitely been explored before in this subgenre, the high concept sci-fi thriller with body horror and all that stuff. I mean, it's definitely Brandon Cronenberg taking a page out of his father's book, which is just great to see. I love sort of the generation, like it's just continuing the Cronenberg legacy. But yeah, man, it's just nuts. And I think the thing I love about it most is it's really confronting. It doesn't hold back. In fact, I would say that the opening of this movie is jaw-droppingly disturbing. Like it is. Yeah,
it sucks because there's so much I want to talk about, but we can't spoil it. There's so many. I want people to be surprised when they go and see it, like with the. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know.
I'm just like, everyone needs to go watch this movie.
I know.
I know. I don't want to be that guy, but you can stream it right now. It's available. It's available. You just gotta look. You just gotta look.
I hate you. Do not. No, we're cutting that out. No, but the thing that's really great about it is like it also deals with people who have a crisis of identity, sort of like what does gender ultimately mean and stuff like that.
And you hit the nail on the head because the violence is, to me, it's, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's not acceptable, but it's, I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but it's because that's what the whole movie's about. It's about, like you were saying, it's the interior is more important than the exterior. The exterior doesn't matter. So who cares if you're seeing like this blood and gore and people getting like, just mashed to death. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. What matters is the inside.
Exactly. And I think that's almost what makes those sequences where Andrea Riseborough and Christopher Abbott are sort of battling for the consciousness of this being. That is where the film gets really unsettling. And it's where like a lot of the practical effects and just like psychedelic visuals sort of come into play. So much of this movie uses practicality. We're talking like wax mannequins of these two actors being melted and then reassembled, and then we're talking about like one of their faces getting cut off and then someone else wearing it, and then there's just like copious amounts of blood, and then it's just like neon lights sort of like flashing and then like their face kind of going around. It's just like, it's so visceral, and it's focused more on creating a visual. It's basically giving you a visual interpretation of the internal struggle that's going on right now, and it's so genius, and it sticks with you. You're so uncomfortable while watching this movie. I
stop thinking about it after I saw it. I was like,
I know,
man, this was out for more people to see right now, because this would be, I think it'd be pretty popular. Like, especially if it hit a streaming service. I think a lot of people would be like digging this one.
Yeah, I agree. And obviously you mentioned the point of it. You see it going for an NC-17. Do you think that will ultimately affect viewership for the movie?
I feel like in a way it would kind of make it people would be more intrigued, and I think that's one of the reasons why I think it could get an NC-17 is because I don't think they have any intentions of releasing this in the theater. Like, I don't think they're going to wait for theaters to open. So if they release it on streaming, they might not even have to label it as NC-17. They could just go like TVMA or whatever they do for like the Netflix movies.
Right. So, right.
Yeah. So even if they get it, I don't think it really matters. But did you like the score? I was going to ask.
Score is so effective. Like, this is another great movie where it's like the visuals paired with like this really.
Was that song in the trailer in the movie? I couldn't remember.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, it's not. It's which I was hoping for, but yeah, it's like it's a great exercise in like these vivid and graphic visuals and like this sort of like cerebral sort of like color palette and the visuals and whatnot, mixed with like this really atmospheric score that's like really intensifies the moments, and then these incredible performances. It's just in the direction. It's just a film that is firing on all cylinders. And if you love body horror and if you love really thought-provoking high concept sci-fi movies, this is 100% a film for you. Listen, this is not going to be a movie for everyone. There are people who are going to be very turned off from this movie, but I think if you at least give it a shot, you'll see something unexpected, and it'll surprise you in more ways than not. Especially if we just talk about it from a performance standpoint, like Christopher Abbott. Like,
he's so good. And back to what you were saying, the cool thing about this movie is there's a lot beneath the surface that you can dissect for sure, but you can also watch this movie just as like a fan of like action sci-fi. Like it'll still be entertaining, like 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a bonus that like there's stuff to like dig deep into and.
Right, definitely. Like, if you want to dig into just like like what it means to be like a person, what does gender ultimately mean? Is it arbitrary? Can that whole thing? That was like one of the big sort of takeaways for me. But I agree, you can sort of like watch this as a straightforward, just like horror thriller.
Yeah, you won't be leaving the movie going like, what was that about? Like it has a pretty solid ending. It's like, great, it's a complete movie.
It's not just like a giant metaphor. I think sometimes, I think legitimately the only sort of drawback for me is that there are times when I think that Cronenberg is juggling a few too many themes, and he doesn't quite know what to do with all of them. But when it kind of hits the ending and we get that sort of thing, I mean, it's just like, it really kind of like knocked me on my ass in a weird way. I was just sort of like sitting there contemplating what I just watched. And I
think it's only like an hour and a half or something like that. It's really fast. Yeah, for
sure. And again, like, it doesn't always, it's not always clean in its execution, but it's like its ambition and its craftsmanship and the performances and all that sort of thing. It's like that all works together so effectively, where it's like I can forgive some of the shortcomings because it's what I'm watching is just so mesmerizing. So
I'm watching anything that guy does next, Brandon Cronenberg. We need to go back and watch his what's it called? The one with Caleb Landry Jones.
Antiviral Antiviral. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I wanted to see that ever since I started watching the trailer. I was like, oh damn it, I need to go back and watch this. But okay, all right. Closing thoughts. What are your sort of what's your overall sort of take on Possessor, and then also what would you give it out of 10?
Yeah, Possessor's great. Definitely one of the best movies I've seen all year. Probably top 5, top 3. I want to watch it again after talking about it. It's a solid, really tight horror thriller sci-fi movie. I'd give it, I'd probably go like 9.5 out of 10. I want to give it a 10 out of 10, but I think there was like just one thing missing, but super high score. Highly recommend.
Yeah, no, I'm going to echo a lot of what you said. I think it's such it's so graphic, purposefully so, and visceral. But it's got like this atmospheric sort of aura around it. Like this stuff when Cronenberg is focused on the psychological and the struggle for identity, and whatnot between these two people sort of battling for control over this shell of a body. It is riveting, and it's in some remarkable practical effects, and it's some remarkable visual storytelling. It'll leave you disturbed, unsettled. It'll stick with you. It'll get under your skin. All that good stuff that you want from like a solid body horror film like this. But it's also got a lot of really valid and interesting things to say that will like have you contemplating it, long after you finished watching it. So I completely agree with you. Christopher Abbott, Andrea Riseborough are incredible in this movie. And it's like a top 3 film of the year. And I think on repeat viewings, it'll only go up. It took me a lot to not just like move it all the way up to the top because I was on such a high. But I was the same way whenever I saw it too. I was like, okay, maybe I need to chill. I need to like process it, but it stuck with me. Yeah, for sure. So for all those reasons, I'm going to be giving Possessor a 9.5 out of 10 as well. But the most important thing is, guys, we want to know what you all think. If you've seen Possessor, if you're watching this, way down the road and you've seen Possessor, be sure to let us know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments section below. And then also let me know what your favorite body horror film is as well. All right. Mr. 3C is back. He's joining us.
Can you see me?
I cannot see you, but you are back. Well, I guess he's not back anymore. Okay, so before we get to 3C coming back, let's go to some more questions here. NBR saying this movie sounds cool, dude. Just wait. LA Bruce Wayne saying no, NC-17 is a no-no if you want to get a wide release. I don't even know why they haven't gotten rid of the NC-17 rating. I mean, like sometimes films just have to be rated NC-17 because of the content,
I feel like it's kind of a gray area for streaming services too. I think you can get away with it, because like Netflix Extraction was definitely rated R, but it doesn't have a rating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like with Possessor, you don't really have to give it a rating if it's just released on streaming.
Yeah. I guess, Chris, let me get your take on this. Do you think NC-17 should be a valid rating, or should it just, is maybe unrated a better option for this?
I guess like marketing wise, like if to release in theaters or going to VOD.
I mean, either. I mean, LA Bruce Wayne was more talking about from like a marketing perspective, like getting a wider audience sort of on board. Yeah. And I can understand that. NC-17 definitely is alienating, but I think on the flip side of that, it can also attract people because it's like, I'm
on your camp. I'm so surprised a studio has not used that gimmick yet. Because when's the last time we had an NC-17 movie be released? And it's like with Blumhouse making movies for $5 million, $7 million. I'm pretty sure you could earn your money back making an NC-17 movie with that budget. And your whole market is, it's been 30 years since an NC-17 movie, no kids allowed, or I don't know. I feel like it could work.
The one that worked for me back in high school, I don't know if it got a theatrical release because I didn't really track movies as much as I did back then, but it was Killer Joe with Matthew McConaughey, that William Friedkin movie. That he did.
I never saw that.
Did you ever see that? Well, the big thing about that one was that it was NC-17, and they released like that version on VOD and DVD, and I just remember being like super excited just because it was it was like the first NC-17 movie I'd ever watched. So I'm surprised they haven't used that gimmick again either. Like I think it would get so many people to the theater. Especially if you keep it cheap, like it could easily make its budget back.
Oh, for sure. And I think I think Nymphomaniac probably did something similar.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Oh, you're right. That was NC-17.
But was that NC-17 or was it unrated? I can't remember.
I can't remember. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But I remember there was some controversy behind it. Like
that movie was controversial, like for just like many reasons. But But yeah, no, I agree. NC-17, you're kind of getting into some dicey territory, but I think the allure of that rating is like enough to really attract people. Plus, I mean, let's face it, like families aren't going to be going to go see Possessor. That's just That's not going to happen. Dennis S saying, great trailer, especially because it doesn't give anything away, which sadly is a rarity these days. Couldn't agree more with you. That trailer.
Neon's on top.
So good. They are killing it right now. Neon and IFC are like just knocking it out of the park right now during this pandemic.
Let me ask you this. What would you rather have? A misleading trailer to like hide surprises like The Invisible Man was, or a trailer like this that just shows you nothing? Because then, I mean, there's a double entendre to it, because some people say Blade Runner didn't do as well because people just had no idea what was going on in the trailers.
Yeah, Tyler, thoughts?
I mean, to me, it doesn't. For me personally, it doesn't really matter, because if I see a trailer like The Invisible Man or Possessor, I'm going to go see it regardless. But for like, if we're talking about like everyone as a whole, I think you have to have a trailer like The Invisible Man. I don't think a trailer like Possessor is going to. Like, if The Invisible Man was marketed like Possessor, I don't know if as many people would have gone to see it.
Yeah, that's true. I think I would probably agree with you. It depends on who you're trying to market to. If you're trying to market to independent horror fans, Possessor might be like the right one to sell people on it. But if you're marketing towards the masses, Invisible Man is definitely like the way to go, because it's like you give them just enough of a taste, you know what they're in store for, and then you still hold back some of the surprises. So it's a fair question to ask. Okay, let's see. Too many problems with my
camera guy. Sorry.
No worries. I just want to address this one real quick. I want to see that movie so badly. When is it available? There is no release date yet. Tyler and I saw it like way back. So there's no release date yet. I'm assuming September or October. That seems like the appropriate release window for this film.
It's got to be soon if they're releasing a trailer.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's see. Moving on with some more news topics here. I think we're gonna close this out on the news with this final one. Well, actually, before we do that, did you guys watch the little New Mutants teaser for Comic-Con?
Oh,
I did not watch it.
I didn't. I didn't even know that something like that came out.
It's okay.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. I mean, I'm kind of done. I am too. Hopefully they drop it at Comic-Con. That would be amazing. Which, whatever. Okay, but moving on to the final news topic, and then guys, start sending in your live questions. We will be taking them for a little bit, so be sure to just keep them coming. We want to hear what you guys want to talk about. So, No Time to Die, film delays. Chris talked a little bit about Halloween Kills. I'm going to talk a little bit about James Bond because it's going to kill me. So nothing is confirmed. Nothing is confirmed right now, but apparently, according to mi6hq.com, who they have insiders on, the Bond projects and all that stuff like that, they are sort of under the impression from people they've talked to that MGM and Eon are looking at delaying No Time to Die until summer 2021. And hearing this absolutely breaks my heart because I just want this damn movie so bad. It's been 5 years since Spectre. Give me the damn movie. Unfortunately, they're never going to release this thing on VOD as much as people say, hey, release it on VOD. It's not going to happen. Bond is a $1 billion franchise, whatever. It makes so much. It cleans up overseas, and it's a film that deserves to be seen in the theater. Having said that, if they decided to drop it on VOD, I would absolutely watch it. I would watch it yesterday. But it kills me just because I feel like every time a little bit of hype starts to get generated around this film, it gets pushed back. And I'm ultimately curious if it's going to affect it in the long run. I don't know. Tyler, what do you think about that?
Well, all I know is, so your movie Bond got delayed. Chris's movie Halloween got delayed. So that means Top Gun is next, because that's my movie and it's coming. So I'm just preparing for a summer 2021 thing as well. But yeah, man, it sucks. I remember being bummed back in April that it was getting pushed to November. I was like, we have to wait that long. But dude, I would kill for it to come out in November now. I'd be like, yes, please come out.
Please.
But it's just, I don't know if, in my mind, theaters won't open until probably November, December.
So maybe, are they going to make enough money? Man.
I think it's still going to get delayed. I think it's still going to get delayed. Yeah, even if theaters do open, like people are gonna be scared to go. Like it's just not gonna make the money it could make.
Yeah, listen, Eon and MGM, they were really quick to delay the film to begin with. They were one of the first studios to do so. They saw the writing on the wall before it was no pun intended, by the way, but they saw the writing on the wall way before any of these other studios did. And they were like, well, we're going to move ourselves to a nice comfy spot in November, late November in the United States, early November, I believe, in the UK. So, you know, I kudos to them, but I'm I don't know, man. I just want this movie so damn bad. Chris, what do you think? Do you think it's going to get delayed?
Unfortunately, yeah, mainly because of what you said. It's $1 billion franchise, and this is the last movie. And if you know anything about last movies in a franchise, like a Harry Potter or something like that, it'll, you know, it's going to make big money. People want to be there. It's an event. And even if theaters are open, I don't think they want to be one of the first movies there, because there's still going to be that cushion time of like, okay, everything's open now, but people are still hesitant to go out, and that's going to hurt their box office. So unfortunately, I do think it'll be delayed.
Yeah, I think a lot of it depends on when the theaters open. Like if theaters were to somehow, it's not going to happen, I don't think, but if they were somehow to miraculously open in August, I think it stands a chance. I think that No Time to Die could still come out. Even if theaters open in September, I think it could potentially happen. But man, if it's like September, nothing's still open, like no way. Yeah. Like I just don't think they'll risk it. And let me ask y'all this. If the theaters don't open until November or December, say they don't open at all, you see Netflix making these huge power moves. They just acquired Aaron Sorkin's movie, which is going to be probably a huge Oscar movie. They have Mank. Do you think the Oscars still even happen? Like, because we're still getting like all these movies that come out.
Yeah, I think they do. Yeah, because I think that
it's not fair to the people who got to release their movies, I think.
I agree. And listen, it'll be a weird year for the Oscars, but it'll force the Academy to view screeners. It'll say, hey, maybe give Possessor another watch and think about maybe is that an Academy Award worthy movie? You know, I think if that happens,
if the Oscars don't happen, that's basically saying like,
it's a low blow. It's a low blow to all of the studios that release films. You know, it's a low blow to Universal that released Invisible Man at the beginning of the year, which I think is still a strong Oscar contender. It's a low blow to The Five Bloods, which to me is by far the strongest front runner for Best Picture, best literally everything. So, yeah, I agree with you. Speaking of the Oscars, though, the thing that interests me is like, so Billie Eilish's No Time to Die song 100% was a front runner for Best Original Song. What happens if Bond gets delayed? Are they even going to consider the song anymore?
I didn't think about that. I feel like they won't, since the movie's not coming out.
That's true.
But what would win? Yeah, it's original song. Who would win that?
Well, don't they still have the rule that, you know, like up until February or something like that? Yeah.
I mean, you're right. These movies could get delayed till like early next year, but I don't think anything's going to really change until we get a vaccine and stuff like that. You know, it's just people are being, you know, pain in the ass. They don't want to wear their masks. They don't want to social distance everything. So it's just we're going to be stuck in the same rut. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if we get an administration change in November, maybe that'll affect something. But I think it'll almost be too little, too late. But yeah, no, I'm really bummed about it. So it sucks. It sucks. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for the news portion of this show. Now we're going to be taking your live questions. So send them in. We want to hear about whatever your heart wants to talk about. We'll take your questions for maybe like 20 minutes here or so. So, okay, Tony Movie Chappie D9, Neil Blomkamp, #1 fan, asking Griffin, Tyler, and Chris, how do you feel about Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg taking on the Ninja Turtles? Personally, I'm very excited about this, to see Seth and Evan take on the Ninja Turtles. I don't really have any attachment to the Ninja Turtles, and I truthfully don't care, but Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, I like them, so they might be, you know, an interesting kind of combo to take this on. I'm going to actually defer to Chris, who has covered more TMNT than I think any of us. So what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, like I'm a big fan. I got my NECA figures of them right here and all that. And I'm kind of bummed that it's going to be CGI animated. I would have liked it to have been live action once again, but whatever. Maybe with the pandemic, it just makes more sense to make it animated because they say that's the easiest movies to make right now because animators can work from home and actors can send in their voice work from home. Yeah, I trust Seth and his team. You know, a lot of people pointed to like the Green Hornet, and I'm like, but since then, I mean, he's worked on Preacher, The Boys. He's touched on comic book properties, and the Turtle are technically comic book properties. So I think it could really work out. I do wonder, you know, if they're going to go mature with it, because, you know, Seth, I'm not saying they're going to be stoners or fart jokes, but there are some darker tones in The Boys and Preacher that I would love to see thrown into the Turtles. That was their original, you know, source material, but with Nickelodeon attached, you know, who knows how much they weather it down. But I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, for sure. Tyler?
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I mean, I like anything Ninja Turtles. I even like the Michael Bay produced Ninja Turtle movies. Like, I'm not going to lie. I thought they were pretty fun. So, yeah, with Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg attached to it, makes me pretty excited. I guess they're fans of the property.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, I don't really care too much, but if like a trailer sells me on it, like, great. I just, Ninja Turtles has never really done it to me. It's never really interested me. The show, the comics, the movies, whatever. It's just not. I'm just sort of been like,
you don't like Shredder?
It's just not my. I mean, I mean, he looks cool, but like, I don't know. That's about it. But thank you for the question, man. Really appreciate it. Okay, Zeke Gonzalez and Zaldi asking, when you were a kid, what did you want to be as an adult? I used to want to be a drummer of a rock band, but now I'm studying to be a lawyer. Well, you know, kudos to you, man. That's law school is not easy, but you do make a lot of money. So I'm sure that I hope that works out great for you. But Tyler, what did you want to be? But now, I don't know, when you were a kid, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, so I definitely wanted to do something with movies like my whole life. I think I went through that phase where it was like, I want to be an astronaut. You know, I want to do this and then that. And I would change it all the time. But it was always something with movies, like whether, you know, acting or it's probably acting. I wanted to like hang out with the people I watched on the screen. You know, like Spy Kids. I remember wanting to like hang out with them so bad. Like, I want to hang out with Carmen and Junie so freaking bad right now. But
Carmen and
yeah,
Junie,
like,
man.
Yeah, so it's just always something to do with movies for sure.
Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I know my love of movies and I guess I wanted to be an actor like Jim Carrey. I just, ever since I saw him in Ace Ventura, I was like, I want to be that funny guy. And then, you know, you grow up and you see how hard it is and how unrealistic. So you change the position in movies that you want to be in. Just like Tyler, it was always with movies. It's just jumping around. It's like, okay, maybe I could write them. I'm not that creative of a writer. I'll direct them. I can boss someone around. And now it's like, it's just hard. So I guess YouTuber that talks about movies is where I landed.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Yeah, no, I think similarly, I wanted to be a filmmaker for sure from a pretty early age. And I like took the steps to like pursue that. And then when I started this channel, that all kind of like turned upside down and was like, oh, wait, I can do this. And this is an occupation. Really? Okay. All right. I kind of like this. And I can still be creative in my own way and talk about movies. So yeah, it's kind of interesting how your ambitions sort of change as you get older, and sometimes they don't change, and I think that's okay. But it's just the sort of factors that sort of like, you know, contribute to you making that sort of decision. It's interesting. It's interesting for sure. But thanks for the question, man. Okay, Dennis S. asking, seeing as you've been interviewing more and more people, which celebrity in the movie business would be your dream to interview? For me, that's easy. Christopher Nolan, man. I want to talk to that guy so bad. He's my favorite filmmaker. He's been an absolute influence on not just my love of movies, but my life in general and whatnot. So it's like to sit down for God, I don't even know, like 15, 20 minutes, whatever amount of time, and just pick his brain and just talk with him would be an absolute dream. And hopefully that's something that can happen, you know, with Tenet coming out. But who knows? He's a hard man to you know, lock down for an interview for sure. But I don't know, what for you guys, who would be your dream interviews?
If I would say Robin Williams, but for obvious reasons that can't happen. But that was one I would have loved. I guess now current Jim Carrey, but maybe younger Jim Carrey, because today's Jim Carrey, he can get very philosophical, and I just can't tell when he's joking or when he's being serious. Yeah,
Tyler.
Yeah, I would do for like actor number one, Tom Cruise for sure. Like 100% just talk to him, and then like director, I want to talk to PTA. I feel like he'd just be a cool guy to talk to just about movies. And,
he'd be
seems
interesting.
like a guy who watches everything. You know what I mean? Especially with his wife being Maya Rudolph. Like, I feel like he just watches everything. It's considered, rotten or whatever. I just feel like he watches it all. So.
Yeah. Good point. Dennis says with the follow up to that, it would also be Nolan or Chazelle for me. Fun fact: I actually did chat with Damien Chazelle when First Man came out.
I mean, it wasn't an interview, but you also talked to him. You just talked to him.
Yeah. There was when they were doing the promotional stuff for First Man. Yeah, I got to interview him on behalf of the playlist. I actually, if you look on my playlist that says interviews, you can find it's one of the first interviews I've ever done on camera. You can find my interview with Chazelle and Claire Foy. So that was very surreal. But then afterwards, I went to a little bit of like an after party celebration of First Man and whatnot. And of course, they're all like, schmoozing people, talking and moving around. And Chazelle came up to me and he was like, "Hey, I just really want to thank you for your question. Like it was great. You asked some like awesome like questions and whatnot." And he was like, "I know you had one more that you didn't get a chance to ask me." He was just like, "What did you want to ask me?" And I was like, "What? Like, is this? wait, excuse me, sir. Like, what are you talking about?" So eventually we just sort of like were talking about it, and it was right when I moved to LA. So we were talking about that sort of experience. So it was just that's been one of the most genuine and just like surreal moments for me. And just like he's such an incredible talent and a great person. So yeah, but that was awesome. Okay, I got a super chat here from Marshall Boy saying Transformers or Fast and Furious. And Tyler, I'm curious to hear what you have to say because you just watched all the Transformers movies.
I would go. I'd go Transformers. Just barely.
I think I gotta go Fast and Furious.
Because for Fast and Furious, I only really love like. The problem is there's so many more. I like 5, 6, and 7.
You didn't like 8?
I thought it was okay.
Oh, come on. 8's
I thought
the
Bumblebee
best.
was much better than Hobbs and Shaw. Like this for
Well,
spinoffs.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
But
fair.
Transformers to me, I had a blast rewatching those movies like a few weeks ago. Like they're a lot of fun. Yeah.
Chris.
Oh yeah, I'm only a big fan of like the first movie, and I kind of like the third movie of Transformers. But so I'm gonna go Fast and Furious all the way. I even like the early ones that are bad, like Tokyo Drift and that second one. There's the guilty pleasures. There's some fun in there, and yeah.
Yeah, no, it's so weird because like if done correctly, Transformers all the way. But like because of 2, 4, and 5, oh my God, I can't sit through like 4 or 5. Well, 5 especially is just God. I had like I say this all the time, but I actually had a physical reaction to that movie. It gave me a migraine headache. It was an absolute disaster. But so yeah, Fast and Furious, which isn't really saying much because I'm not the biggest Fast guy, but like Fast and Furious 8, Fate of the Furious, I think is so just like self-aware and enjoyable and ridiculous. Fast 5, of course, is a great heist film. Yeah. 6 and 7 are great as well. 7, obviously, bringing the emotions and whatnot. But but then yeah, if we're judging the spin-offs, I think Transformers definitely takes the cake on that one for sure. Thanks for the question. Okay, let's go. I think I missed one in here. Surround 71, thoughts on the BVS Ultimate Edition. I think it's a big improvement upon the theatrical cut. I agree with you. Chris, do you feel the same?
Oh yeah, I agree. It fills in some gaps and some questions that were obviously left out of theatrical cut. It's good, but I don't think it's like a huge overall gaping change.
Yeah, for sure. Tyler?
Yeah, I've seen it before. I probably need to watch it again because I know some people say it's like, some people call it a masterpiece, but I remember kind of watching it and just being like, oh, it was kind of a longer version of the theatrical cut. Like it was good, but I mean, I didn't like love it or anything as much as like Man of Steel, but it's pretty solid.
I don't know. I've always appreciated the ambition and like for all intents and purposes, it's like a 2.5 hour long character drama with like 30 minutes of insane superhero spectacle, which is ballsy. Maybe like a 2 hour long character drama with an hour of superhero spectacle. But it's like the fact that like Warner Brothers even agreed to let Zack Snyder remotely do that. Yeah. is nuts. And then of course they fucked up his vision, for the first time. But thankfully we have the Ultimate Edition. Yeah, I don't know, man. I am just like, I love this film so much, and it just gets better upon each rewatch. I'm even starting to come around on Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. Like I'm finally starting to get what they were going for with it.
I never hated it.
It was a cartoon to me.
I kind of buy into the rumor. Who knows if it's fake, that apparently he was supposed to be the Riddler, and so Eisenberg had like prepared to be the Riddler.
Sense. Yeah.
But then they switched it last minute, so I still buy into that rumor because like as Riddler, he's incredible.
Awesome. Yeah.
But Lex Luthor, I like him, man.
Yeah, no, it's I don't know. I remember I hated him. I thought it was awful casting the first time I saw it, but like it just it's just something that sort of like gets better upon a rewatch and whatnot. But yeah, I think it's a truly great superhero epic that deserves that second look for sure. Okay, a few more questions here, then we'll start to close this out. Okay, L.A. Bruce Wayne saying Trump equals Howard Beale from Network. I guess in a way it kind of fits. It kind of fits. He's mad as hell, and he's whatever. I forget the rest of that line, but yeah, I can see it. Let's see. Tony Movie Chappie, D9, Neil Blomkamp, #1 fan, Griffin and Tyler and Chris. What are your guys' thoughts on the Total Recall remake? Personally, I think it's extremely underrated and been underappreciated. In my opinion.
That is weird. He brings that up because I started rewatching that last night. I think that's a fun freaking movie. That is a really fun movie, and I implore both of you to rewatch it. That's it. Like it's got some the script is a little cheesy, but that is like nonstop action from start to finish. It's really fun. Yeah, and Colin Farrell's in that, right? Yeah, like Colin Farrell, Bryan Cranston, Ethan Hawke, Kate Beckinsale, Jessica Biel. Like cast is stacked. Yeah, for sure. Chris, do you have any like memories of seeing that?
I do actually. I've seen it in theaters, being excited. I remember I even went back for the Arnold one, and I thought that one held up at the time. I saw it really well. I remember it being good, but I remember it not leaving an impact on me. But so maybe Tyler's right. I need to rewatch it, see if it's good, because I do remember it being enjoyable. Yeah,
I honest to God, I don't think I've thought about this movie since I saw it. It was just one of those like those midsummer blockbusters that sort of just came out and you're like, oh yeah, that was fun for like 2 hours or whatnot. Yeah, which is why I wanted to rewatch it. I was like, I remember liking it. Like I didn't have any issues with it. So I started again. This is like a trashy like Blade Runner. It's awesome. Like it's so much fun. Yeah. Do you like it more than the Arnold one? No. The Arnold one's actually, I watched that for the first time about a year ago. That's a pretty solid movie. That one's like, it's one of his better films, I think, for sure. But I guess, just sort of taking it as it is. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Excuse me. All right, a few more questions here. Zeke Gonzalez and Zaldi asking, what instruments can you play? Can either of you play any instruments?
No, I did trumpet in high school, but I was horrible. I was always last chair.
You were a trumpet kid. Okay, cool. No, that's.
Were you rushing or dragging?
That's funny. Watching that made me want to get back into instruments, but
well,
no, I played piano when I was younger for a little bit and guitar, but I gave up. I wish I wouldn't have, but
I played drums and saxophone, and I can still play set a little bit, and I don't know if I can still play the saxophone, but I used to be kind of good. I was like, I wasn't bad at it. Like, it's like, not to toot my own horn, literally, but pun. But yeah, it was fun. I have also been told that I can sing, but that is
sing right now.
It's not going to happen to you. Not going to happen. This is. What do you think this is?
An outro.
Yeah, for the outro. Okay. Certain vids asking, what was the first film you saw from your favorite director? Chris.
Oh man,
favorite director is Don Mancini, right?
No, oh my God, not even close. No. You're gonna have to come back to me on that. I need to think of who my favorite director. Like, I don't pay much attention to that.
I know Tyler's answer for this.
Yeah, I mean, I like Chazelle. Like, he's number one. Whiplash, but like, if I have to go, like. Spielberg would probably be next. Cause I think Spielberg's like the best of all time just because of what he can do. Sure. And I think the first Spielberg movie I saw it may have been Hook, man.
Oh wow! Yeah. Is that Hook video essay still on YouTube?
It is
video essay
that you did. Go okay. if you guys want to just see the potential that this man has for just like content in general, go to his YouTube channel, which is just literally Tyler Tompkins, and watch his like video essay and just like
try to dissect Hook.
It was so good. I was like, dude, where are more of these? Like, come on. Like,
I know, man. I remember being so excited. I was like, this is gonna be the one that blows me up. But it got like, 100
dude,
views.
Okay, let's just take it back here. This man blew up so, like, not blow up, but like your growth was like exceptional. Like if you had stuck with it, dude,
yeah,
you would be with like the 3C level at the Sean Chandler level, dude. You'd be up there with
Tyler.
The
I feared you, man. Whenever I'm not even kidding, I did, dude. I would just watch your channel so ferociously. I'm like, this guy's got it. He's got the charisma. He's got the nice spoken voice, the hat with the mullet.
I know, dude.
They would boycott me, man, for the controversial takes.
But I think that was part of the appeal.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna be 100% honest. I think the first video I watched of yours was, or maybe not the first video, but I vividly remember watching your recap of the episode of The Walking Dead where Negan kills Glenn, and I was like, this dude's out of his mind. Like this.
Everyone thought I was. Man, that video was just I just got wrecked, dude.
I was like, dude, you're out of your mind.
That was one of those videos, like it didn't blow up, but it got to 1,000 views like overnight. I was nervous. I was like, people need to stop watching because I'm just getting like, slammed. It's like, please stop watching it.
I was just like, how? What? Because it's like, for me, still, like someone who doesn't even watch the show anymore. I mean, I could give two shits about the Walking Dead, but like that is still one of the most intense and just like episodes of television I think I've ever seen. Like it's so good. And I can't believe you hated it.
It's not. Yeah, I didn't like it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I couldn't get into it, man.
Look, dude, LA Bruce Wayne, Tyler's the best. He needs to realize that and take off. I
appreciate it, man. Thank
you. That's
Maybe
why I'm honored that he even agrees to come on here. And
this is blast. This is fun.
Yeah, well, good. I'm glad you enjoy it. But anyways, okay, Ian Ferry asking, what are your thoughts on the 1954-1967 Casino Royale adaptations? I don't really think much about them. They're not really adaptations. I mean, one's like a spoof movie. Yeah. I mean, the one with Peter Sellers, I think Peter Sellers is in that. The one with Peter Sellers is like a funny slapstick, kind of Pink Panther inspired spoof movie. It's not really an adaptation. But I mean, like, I don't know. I don't really watch them. I don't consider them canon for the Bond films. So it's just like, they're kind of like extras if you ever want to watch it. It's like that. It's like the Never Say Never Again, the Sean Connery film where he came back and like redid one of the movies he already did. Oh, wow. It's just like, it's like, why does this exist? I mean, I don't know. But yeah. Anyways. Okay, a couple more questions. I'll just answer this one really quickly. Certain vids, any stats on the Amazing Spider-Man 2 video? I really have not had a chance to work on it just with some of the stuff that I've been doing. At this point, I'm just hoping to get it done by the end of the year. We'll see. Who knows? But I mean, it's coming. That's all I can say. It's coming. Okay. This one, just Tony Movie Chat. We did already answer this, so feel free to like go back earlier in the stream and listen to our thoughts on that. Dennis says, new Patreon tier, you get to hear Griffin sing. Yeah, right, dude. Good luck on that one. I won't even sing in front of my girlfriend, so that's not gonna happen. Choice. Yeah, no way. Okay, 402-1971. Most shocking ending ever. Mine is Fat Girl or Looking for Mr. Goodbar.
Never heard of either of those.
Wow.
Well, I guess you've got some homework, Tyler. Hey, so as do I.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cliche to say Infinity War.
I don't think that's shocking, though.
I remember being shocked. I knew the characters would come back, but I didn't think that would happen. I remember being so surprised.
For me, the shocking part for me I'm thinking of Endgame. Endgame when Cap wields the hammer.
Oh yeah, that was shocking. Yeah.
No, for me, I always go back to Split. The ending of that just knocked me off. I've never been so knocked on my butt in my life. I was like,
that was nuts.
My God, like that's the best twist I've ever seen because I did not see it coming.
Yeah, that one's really good.
Terminator 3, or is that?
What are you talking about? Get out of here.
I like that movie, but I can't remember how it ends.
Where like the whole mission, it wasn't to protect him, it was to get him to safety because you couldn't stop the war, and it was going to happen either way.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
I remember the first time I saw Planet of the Apes, that ending is just like, what? It was just like fun. Yeah, it's like if you know nothing about Planet of the Apes beforehand, you watch that film, you're just like,
that's true.
Fuck. Like this guy literally went through hell and he's still there.
I'm trying to think of stuff like did you ever see that Pattinson movie Remember Me, the romantic that's got a crazy ending. I highly recommend it. Yeah, that movie's nuts.
Well, Chris, I mean, Ghost of War, right?
Oh my god, man!
Is it really that bad?
It feels like a film student who's obsessed with horror movies made a movie, and he's like, people are gonna love this. It has everything you need, and it's just filled with cliches, unfortunately.
I feel bad saying it because I really like the guy.
The guy is so nice. The director is so awesome. He was so sweet. My first ever interview with like a celebrity, and he was just so awesome. And I feel bad.
I'm not exaggerating when I say it might be one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life. Like
that's crazy. I thought it would be kind of solid.
I know. I actually really want you to watch it. It's actually out this weekend. You should watch it.
I probably will. I like all of his other movies.
Got a good cast.
Yeah, it does have a good cast. That's just poorly utilized.
Poor Brenton Thwaites or whatever, man. The guy's so good.
That dude
but he's just like,
he can't catch a break, man. He can't catch a break. All right, and then kind of going off of the ending thing, what is your favorite ending of a movie? Mine is Dark Knight Rises. Dark Knight Rises is like a top 5 favorite ending for me as well. But I think I'd have to go Inception. I'd have to go Inception. And I'm sure I know we've probably answered this question a million times on here before, but I would definitely go Inception for that.
Yeah, for me, I would go. There's a lot, but I mean, I'd probably go Shawshank and Whiplash.
Shawshank's really good. So is it. You know what I just thought of? And Tyler, I think it was because I was looking at your poster. A shocking ending, the end of Uncut Gems.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was a good one.
Oh, dude, yeah, that's easy. I can't believe I didn't think of that. Yeah, that's like, it's up there with Split. Like, because I saw that with you. I was like,
yeah.
I was like, what?
It took you by surprise so much that the first time you watched it, you were like, man, I don't know about that ending.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I don't know if I like this movie, but then it was like my number one. I think it's like probably one of my favorites of all time now. I'm just like, oh, it's such a good ending. Yeah, it's up there.
Yeah, for sure. Chris?
I really like the ending of Kick-Ass. I just remember it's just like a feel-good movie. It's fun. Them standing on the rooftop, facing the city and everything, and the music swells up. I know it can get maybe a little cheesy with them on the rocket pack, but I remember liking that a lot.
I like it. It's good. It's good pick.
It's funny. 4021-971 saying, if you see Fat Girl looking for Mr. Goodbar or The Vanishing, you won't believe the endings. I have heard about the Vanishing before. That's definitely one that's been on my list. Let me know, are any of those Criterion films? Because those could be good choices for the Criterion and Classics. We could definitely do that. Let's see. Jaron Talks Movies. What's up, guys? Favorite moment from Inception? The ending.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know. That one's hard. Tyler,
I would say, for me, no, I know it. It's the JGL
hotel
in the hotel.
The hallway, the spinning hallway.
I
is so
freaking
good.
love that. It's my favorite scene.
I think I agree with you. That I take back. The ending is obviously masterful, but it's like that when it's being intercut with Tom Hardy doing the snow chase when he's like going down onto the bunker. I was just like, oh gosh, this is like.
It's my favorite Inception poster too. The one where it's in the hotel. I love that so much. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, those. Both of those sequences are freaking fantastic. And then Jaron also asking, what's better, Dunkirk or 1917?
1917.
I'd probably say 1917 for sure. And I listen, I'm a diehard Dunkirk fan, but that's just for me. Jack Alexander here asking, do you want Genndy Tartakovsky? I can never say his name, Tarkovsky, to make another Star Wars show? I am all in. I love anything that guy does. Guy did Samurai Jack, the 2D animated.
He's working on some R-rated movies for Sony Animation. Have you guys heard of the plot of the R-rated movie he's working for?
No, I just know that he's working on projects. Yeah,
it's called Fix, and it's gonna be about a dog who finds out he's about to get neutered, and so it's his last day with his balls.
Awesome.
And that sounds R-rated for Sony.
That's wild. That's friggin' wild, man. Did you guys ever watch the I think it was a series that he did last year. I thought it was a movie. I think it was aired as a series
Primal?
on Primal. It was aired as a series, but it's actually a movie. But yeah, did you guys ever watch that? What he did?
I didn't see it, but I plan to. People were saying great things about it. I hear there's barely any dialogue though.
It is like it's silent film, but it's like it's so good. It's like it follows this
Caveman.
It's like a caveman fighting against all the dinosaurs, like saber-tooths. Like it is so good. Holy crap.
Did you get a chance to buy the Samurai Jack pop, the 2-pack?
No. Dude, I didn't get a chance. I didn't get the Samurai Jack pop. I didn't get the
Dexter's and
the Dexter, the Johnny Bravo. None of that stuff, dude.
I'm so mad I didn't get Samurai Jack because that was $30, and now Tyler, that pop is worth $300.
Oh my gosh,
it's so dumb.
It's crazy.
It's so dumb. Okay, cool. We will take 2 more questions here. So be sure to send in your great ones. One here from Dennis S. asking, with what movie does knowing behind the scenes stuff enhance the movie itself, e.g. how Tom Cruise does all his own stunts?
Okay.
Good question.
Just recently, back to Transformers, I watched Dark of the Moon, and I watched a lot of the featurettes, like behind the scenes of how they film certain sequences, and man, a lot of work goes into those movies, especially the first 3. 3 in particular, I was wow, I really appreciate what they did. That scene in 3 when they're in the building and it's tilted over.
Yeah. I remember watching that featurette. Yeah,
they constructed this lift that pushed this building over, and they filmed it like that. It was really neat. There's a lot more practicality that went into it than I thought. So.
Yeah, but then what about when it goes too far? When you get Jared Leto sending condoms or Shia LaBeouf getting a real body tattoo?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the Jared Leto thing was just stupid. It's a little too. Maybe it's just because he annoys me. Jared Leto.
He
you don't want to join his cult?
Man. Yeah,
no, dude.
Yeah, he's very annoying. Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to think where the knowing the behind the scenes stuff enhances it.
Well, what about The Revenant when that was going on?
That
DiCaprio actually
I think that's a great example. That definitely does enhance it for sure. Interesting question. It's tough to think about. I agree. The Mission Impossible ones are obviously the easiest to go to.
Yeah.
Really, anything Tom Cruise does for sure. But yeah.
Can't wait to watch all the behind the scenes of the space movie.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
That's ridiculous. That could be a movie in itself,
Yeah, for sure. All right, last question here from Eli Taylor. Favorite movie posters? My favorite is the poster for The Thing. Chris, what's your favorite poster?
I really like the poster for Child's Play 2, where he's about to cut the little whatchamacallit, Jack in the Box. I even have the little pop of it right here. I love that poster.
And it's Sorry Jack, Chucky's back.
Yeah.
And that's the tagline. Yeah, I like that one. Yeah.
I like that one. I can think of more that aren't Chucky related, but I'll give it to Tyler for now.
I have a lot, man. I like the Shawshank one where Tim Robbins is looking up to the rain. I like the Uncut Gems one. And kind of show you. I have Signs. I love that one. Signs is cool. There Will Be Blood is great. Eyes Wide Shut. I have a lot. There's a ton.
The Back to the Future one also. I like that. The DeLorean looking at his watch.
Yeah. A lot of those 80s Amblin ones where it's painted an actual constructed piece of art. Those are so good. The Goonies, Raiders, Temple of Doom, Last Crusade. All of those. Those are those are so good. Yeah, I don't know. That it's tough. Off the top of my I love the poster for Vertigo. I think that's a great poster. American Beauty is iconic.
Baby Driver had a cool poster where it was a bullet, but it was a car.
Yeah, that was a cool one. There were some good posters for that. Halloween's a good one. Actually, I think someone just in the chat said Halloween. That reminded me of that. So yeah, Halloween is a good one. Jaws is dude, you got to go with that one. A lot of the Connery, Moore, and Dalton Bond posters are fucking spectacular, beautiful pieces of art. So yeah, those I would go with that one. Okay, sorry, we've got a few more questions here, so we'll close out on Okay, we'll go with 2 more here. Sorry. Ian Ferry, would you like to see the cast of an older film reunite for an animated film / series? Well, I guess it depends. So it's like, would I like to see the cast of Anchorman reunite for like an animated Anchorman? Yeah, that could be hilarious as long as they don't tell the same story. But like, I don't know. Would I like to see the cast of I don't know, Boogie Nights reunite? I don't know. It's like, I'm sure you know, it's like, it could be interesting if it's a new original thing, but like just for the sake of having them reunite. Nah.
Yeah, it's for like a cast reunite for an animated film series. I don't know about that. I don't think I would really be.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be up for it. Do you listen to the Ron Burgundy podcast since you brought that up?
No, I don't.
I've listened to a few episodes. It's pretty funny, but some of them are hit or miss.
Yeah, I had the feeling, I was just like, oh, maybe it's like, I'm sure like 1 or 2 of them are good, but then like if you do it that much, I feel like he's like got 3
seasons in. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. You just like retread a lot of the material, but yeah, for sure. Okay, final question here from Jaron Talks Movies. Best Hitchcock film. He's my favorite director, so I'm curious of your picks. For me, it's Vertigo. Vertigo is one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it's a movie that gets better each time you rewatch it, and you kind of pick up on sort of like the real hidden truth behind what Hitchcock was getting at with that. And it's a movie that is really, you know, over time has really kind of evolved into something new. So I absolutely adore that movie. What about you guys?
I'll just go cliche with Psycho, because that one and Birds is all I've seen.
Fair enough.
Those are great. The Birds used to be mine. But then I saw Vertigo. I was like, oh, wow.
It's like, this is what
movies of all time.
This is what cinema is.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, guys, that is going to do it for this first kind of trial episode of Film Forum. Hopefully you all enjoy the new format. Like I said, next Saturday we will be back with another live Q&A, but next week the goal is to start doing more of these live news shows during the week. But anyways, thank you to both Tyler and Chris for joining me. Chris, where can everyone find you online?
Yeah, you guys can find me at youtube.com/3cfilms or on Twitter at 3cfilmreview. I love being on here, so thanks for inviting me, Griffin.
Yeah, of course. And Tyler, where can everyone find your video essays?
Yeah, you can find my Hook video essay on YouTube by searching my name. It's great. And then Twitter, Tyler Tompkins, and Letterboxd. Make sure to follow me on Letterboxd, where I give my opinions on everything I watch. Chris, you should get Letterboxd too. You should get it.
Yeah, I need to.
Do you not have Letterboxd?
I don't. I don't know.
Come on, man. What's up? Dude,
no, I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, anyways, thank you guys for joining me on this. And then, guys, if you haven't done so already, be sure to like this video, share with your friends, and subscribe to the FilmSpeak channel for more episodes of Film Forum, more live Q&As, and all that good stuff. We did just start a Patreon. So if you want to go that extra step and support the channel financially, we have big plans to expand and all that good stuff. Definitely head on over to the Patreon. There are great tiers there for you all. One of the tiers is actually, I believe the $5 tier is you get to suggest topics and news stories for us to talk about. So if you want to have a hand in the creation of Film Forum in this show, that is the perfect opportunity to do so. But it is obviously not required, but we would obviously very much appreciate it. It really helps us, moving along here into the future. But lastly, guys, be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, I already said that. I can't even close out the show. Be sure to like FilmSpeak on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, just search FilmSpeak. And then lastly, guys, if you like me specifically and you like what I have to say, you can give me a follow on Twitter at Griff Schiller. All right, guys, that's going to do it for Film Forum, and we will catch you next time. Take care.